The topic for today is hitting your stride, finding the new normal. We have Tanja Duffy, our military family life consultant, and Chaplain Mike Crawford here to present on that. Was everyone able to see the documents when we had the document camera going?
Sarah, you talking about to this afternoon?
This afternoon?
Yes.
Have not seen anything yet, just your little notes about the sound.
The sound.
That's what I'm talking about. So if you can see those, and you can see anything our presenters put up.
Okay. 10-4.
10-4.
All right, looks like Old Line got it. Charles City, were you able to see the notes? Okay, looks like the audio is going in and out. We'll keep the document camera going as we need to
That
then,
motor's
and
going up
hopefully
there for the
we'll
camera.
get through this. The other thing I should let you know is that we may be able to supplement this with some kind of a recorded session later on. So it may be available either online as a webinar or as a DVD later on too. So if you miss out on some things, don't panic. Write down your questions, call them in if you can, or just email them in later on, and we'll make sure we get everybody addressed. With that, I'm going to pass it on over to Chaplain Crawford.
All right, can you hear me by speaking to this? Okay, very good. I'm Chaplain Mike Crawford. I'm the support chaplain for the 2nd VCT for the rear detachment, and glad for the opportunity to talk with you today about adjustments. Talking about the new normal, and the new normal is going to be a little different for everyone. Each one's going to have a little different experience and a little different, whatever is your regular routine now that your service member is away from home and in the process of deploying. And I appreciate the opportunity to work with Tanja today as well. Tanja Duffy, a military family life consultant, will be talking about some of the adjustments for the kids. And so I'll be speaking more to the parents of soldiers as well as the spouses of, and siblings of soldiers in my comments. We've also agreed we're going to try to aim for about 20 minutes between us, and so that's going to really push us along to try to make that goal. But we're going to try to do that here today. And just let me say as well that your comments and your input is really a key to this being successful. I have some suggestions, some things that I want to put out, but I would be very interested in what you are experiencing and what you've been finding in your experience as well. And some of you have been, this isn't your first rodeo, you've been through this before, and we'd welcome things that you have found to be helpful as you adjust to the challenges and the changes that the deployment creates. I just wanted to say, first of all, that my credentials personally aren't that great to speak to this, because I have deployed a couple of times and been on the other side of the ocean to go through the deployments. But I'm sharing many of the things that I got from my wife, from Carla. And some of you may remember our story. The first time I deployed to Afghanistan, I left my wife with 8 kids. We had 3 daughters. We were in the process of adopting 3 little boys. And they came into our home, and 2 weeks later I was told I was going to Afghanistan and would be gone for 16 months. And at that time we also had 2 foster daughters, and so if you do the math, that's 8 kids I left my wife with. I wasn't sure if she would be at the welcome home for me or not, or to be there saying, hey, here's the keys, I'm out of here for a while. But she's a tremendous blessing and truly my hero. And so some of the things I'm sharing, I've run past her. I had her approve of my presentation here today. For the, see if I can do the outline here, we'll just show you our agenda. Just give you a quick overview of our training outline. We'll talk a little bit about family battle rhythm, about some personal development goals that you might set, and some of your support system. That would be the people that will help you through the deployment. Talk a little bit about fun, and then Tanja will be talking about some of the adjustments that the kids will be experiencing as well. So let's go ahead and we'll go to the next slide, and we'll talk about the family battle rhythm. Now, battle rhythm is kind of a funny thing, probably not a household term that you use at home, but in the military we use that to describe our routine, kind of like what happens on Monday, what happens on Tuesday, and so forth. And if you've not already, you will soon establish kind of a battle rhythm as a family. And that's a good thing. It's good because we're wanting to see the time pass. We're wanting the time to go by and speed by and have our soldiers back home and make our adjustments and go on from there. But the thing is that while that time is passing, we also want to make the most of the opportunities that we have before us. And so you'll get your routine going. And as you're doing that routine, you'll find before long you'll notice that the time is starting to click by. And as we focus on the routine, really there's two main routines to have. It'd be your morning routine and your before bed routine. And whatever things fit into those categories, those would be your primary points of your battle rhythm. There may be certain times you're able to communicate with your service member. That would be part of your battle rhythm. Although I will caution you that as they move out to NTC and as they go overseas, there'll be periods that you may not be able to reach them. And perhaps you've already been appraised of that and are aware of that, but that can kind of upset the battle rhythm just a little bit. I want to talk about not just a routine, but setting some what I call target oasis. And that is, if we think about 12 months, we've got a 12-month deployment, that can be overwhelming. How am I going to do this for a year? And the thing is, we've got to break it down into more manageable units, smaller sizes. Maybe we look at like the holidays coming up, or birthdays, or special events. Even checking off each month as it goes by. We reach a new month. We're in October now, so we'll celebrate that. But set those milestones in shorter increments so that you can celebrate as you reach them. And that will kind of help your time, to move along. And let me encourage you to think of some rituals as well. Now, rituals aren't just, spiritual exercises or whatever. They could be things like bedtime stories. They could be things like Friday night pizza night, or, Saturday morning cartoons, or whatever your ritual is, to establish some of those things. Because the rituals will help bring a sense of order, a sense of dependability to your schedule. But also you can set some meaningful rituals that will help add that meaning and purpose to your overall experience as well. And then, again, keeping those communications with your soldier as a priority. Because the times that they're able to call may vary, and when they do, you really want that to be a priority in your schedule so you can have that time to talk with your soldier, as well as your children. If you have children, you give them that time as well. So that's just a few thoughts about family battle rhythm. Let me go on to our next slide and talk about some goals. Now, I know many times people have varied reactions when we talk about setting goals. I remember seeing men that they just roll their eyes, and I say, well, what's the matter? We're talking about goals, and they'd say, well, Chaplain, to meet goals are things that my boss sets that there's no way I'll ever achieve it. It's not even possible. And that's not what we're talking about with goals. We're talking about setting some goals that you want to accomplish during the year, during this time of the deployment. And as you set them and work to them, you'll be able to see that progress as time's going by. So think of some of those goals, and I encourage you to write them down and work on those. And let me encourage you to give yourself some credit. It's easy for us to beat ourselves up, especially when you've got all these additional responsibilities that you're taking care of. So don't be too hard on yourself. Set some goals for yourself and pursue those goals, but give yourself some credit as well. Mostly I want to mention to you here, as you're looking for help, and there are people that want to help you, I want to talk about Fly Lady. And I don't know, is there anyone in the sound of my voice that's familiar with Fly Lady? Hey, Sarah says so here. I don't know if anyone out there is able to give any response. But Fly Lady is something my wife discovered on my second deployment when I was in Kosovo. And I started hearing about Fly Lady, reading these emails and thinking, what in the world is Fly Lady? Well, Fly Lady, you can find out a lot more at www.flylady.net. I think Sergeant Bunston's got the address here that we can broadcast up there for you to see. There we go. flylady.net. And Fly Lady is a gal that helps I don't know. My wife is really the subject matter expert here, and maybe you'll want to have her come speak to your group sometime. She could talk quite a while about Fly Lady, but she helps spouses, especially wives, kind of get organized, kind of help take things in control in your home. And it doesn't matter where you are in terms of your organizational skills or what things are like. She talks about starting where you are. She says you're not behind, you're right on time, you're right where you should be, and moving forward from there. In fact, even things as simple as 15-minute increments a day. You just set your routines and you do things, have a goal of 15 minutes. I'm going to shine my sink and clean off my counters. And you may say, that's too much, I can't do it, it's overwhelming, I get discouraged. But say, I'm just going to set my timer for 15 minutes. And her little saying is, you can do anything for 15 minutes. And so you work on it for 15 minutes, the timer goes off, and you're set free to do something else. But in doing that, you'll find that you accomplish a lot more than you'd ever imagine. And as you go there, you'll have some links to some testimonials. She even has a military chat group that's specifically for military spouses, military families. Just a lot of things I could say about it that I just encourage you to take a look at that for yourself and maybe share your stories with one another, as well as read some of the testimonials that are available from Fly Lady to see how people have helped get themselves on track. My wife was a real believer and truly benefited a lot from Fly Lady, and she still gets the daily email downloads from Fly Lady. So it's free. Yeah, how can you beat that? So I'd encourage you to check it out, and if you find things that are helpful, tell your story and let others benefit as well. Well, let me go ahead and talk about support systems.